This morning after a behavioral therapist was shot by an officer after he held his hands in the air, lying on the ground, his patient with autism sitting right nearby. ABC's Gio Benitez has more on this story. Good morning to you, Gio.
Amy, good morning to you. That new video taking social media by storm overnight. The unarmed black behavioral therapist shot by police on the streets of Miami. And police say it all started when they got a call about a man threatening suicide. Watch, just moments before the shooting, you can see 47-year-old Charles Kinsey, his hands raised in the air. The video released overnight by his lawyer. Kinsey in the yellow shirt works at an assisted living facility. And the man at his feet is a 23-year-old with autism who ran away from the group home. Listen as Kinsey talks to police. Kinsey even tries to calm the young man with autism. At some point, one of the officers shoots Kinsey, but he survives and speaks with Fox station WSVN from his hospital bed, recounting what he told that officer.
And I'm telling him again, sir, there's no need for a firearm. I'm unarmed. He's an autistic guy. He had a toy truck in his hand. When he hit me, I'm like, I still got my hands in the air. I said, no, I just got shot. And I'm standing there, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
Video of the actual shooting hasn't been released, but this is the moment right after. And this morning, Kinsey is expected to make a full recovery. The North Miami Police Department has placed the officer on administrative leave, and the local state attorney's office is now investigating Amy.
Gio, this is so hard for people to get their heads around after all that has happened. Have the police there admitted that now they know this was a therapist and his patient? Where does this investigation go?
Yeah, absolutely. They acknowledge he's an ALF employee. They acknowledge the other one is a young man with autism. And that's why, Amy, this is going to be a very serious investigation. A lot of people asking, how could this happen?
Now to outrage growing over that police shooting in Miami. Protests overnight after police shot an unarmed black man who is a behavioral therapist. Authorities are now saying there is more to this story, and ABC's Gio Benitez is in North Miami with the very latest on the investigation. Good morning, Gio.
Amy, good morning to you. Here at the police department, the investigation will now focus on why that officer fired his gun. The officer and the union now saying he did not intend to shoot that therapist. This morning, new details in the controversial police shooting of an unarmed black behavioral therapist lying down with his hands up. Overnight, several investigations have been launched trying to figure out exactly what happened to Charles Kinsey and why.
You have questions. The community has questions. We, as a city, and as a member of this police department, and I personally have questions.
Protesters storming the North Miami Police Department demanding answers. Kinsey's lawyer says the 47-year-old had been helping a 23-year-old man with autism who ran away from the Florida group home where he works on Monday. In this video released by Kinsey's attorney, the young man is seen playing with a toy truck. Kinsey tries to get him to lay down. Police were in the neighborhood responding to a 911 call reporting a man with a gun threatening suicide. Listen as Kinsey tries talking to police. Moments later, an officer shoots Kinsey, but he survives.
I'm standing there, I'm like, sir, why did you shoot me? And his words to me, he said, I don't know.
The police union says the officer was trying to protect Kinsey and had intended to shoot the man with autism. The officer, who police say is a 30-year-old Hispanic male, now speaking out in a statement, saying, I took this job to save lives and help people. I did what I had to do in a split second to accomplish that and hate to hear others paint me as something I am not. And back here live at the police department, I can tell you the state is now looking at this case, and the Justice Department also now saying it is aware of the shooting and it will look closely at
now
that
to a major
investigation.
terror arrest in Rio ahead of the Olympics. 10 ISIS suspects rounded up and charged with planning an attack on the games. ABC's Ryan Smith is here with the latest. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, George. The suspects, reportedly including a minor, discussed potential attacks, and 2 of their groups still haven't been caught. This morning, 2 suspects on the loose and 10 others under arrest, suspected of planning terrorist attacks at the upcoming Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. The operation sweeping across 10 Brazilian states. Brazilian officials saying the all-Brazilian group was ISIS-inspired and mostly organized online, but they were absolutely amateur with no preparation. Officials saying the group wanted to start training in martial arts and learn how to shoot, even trying to buy a gun online, something no organized cell would do. No specific targets were mentioned, and investigators still searching for clues, digging through the suspects' cell phones and computers. With the games just 2 weeks away, security on alert across the host city. An estimated 500,000 visitors are expected to travel to see these games. Just last week, the Brazilian government releasing an additional $24 million to beef up security. An estimated 80,000 soldiers and police will patrol the streets during the games. Brazilian officials believe those 2 suspects on the loose will be arrested soon, and the judge overseeing the case saying the suspects use Arabic code names, but none appeared to have Arabic names.
I was sitting in my family room.
All right, Ryan, thanks.
I heard some loud noises coming down the street that sounded like very loud backfiring of either a vehicle or a motorcycle or something, and it continued to get louder. Then all of a sudden, I thought, geez, something sounds like it might crash. And then I heard some skidding. And then I just, all of a sudden, my dining room wall blew out and flames were already in the house. I thought I was going to see a car in my dining room because that's what I thought maybe had happened, was a car accident or a car collision or something. And so I grabbed my dog. I was going to just go out through the back door, and I saw some flames in my grass, so I was praying that the garage door would open since it's electric, and it did. When I got outside, I already had several neighbors asking me if anybody else was in the house and if we were okay. And
I want to begin by thanking all my counterparts, all the ministers of defense from all of the nations represented here today at another one of our full counter-ISIL meetings of defense ministers from the entire coalition. This is something we've done and we're going to do periodically, and I thank them for joining us as we continue to rigorously evaluate, plan the next steps of, and further accelerate our campaign to deliver ISIL a lasting defeat. And critically, it is a critically important time for the military campaign, and we had a very productive discussion. Thanks to our global coalition, to our clear and deliberate campaign plan, our dedicated local partner forces, and the sacrifices of our country's military personnel, we now have momentum in this fight and clear results on the ground. And today, we made the plans and the commitments that will help us deliver ISIL the lasting defeat that it deserves. I'm going to provide a brief update on these conversations, after which General Votel and I will take your questions. By the way, Joe's been doing an absolutely spectacular job as our CENTCOM commander and running this campaign on a daily basis. And he delivered excellent presentations to the group here, so I very much appreciate it. As I said earlier today, our coalition's military campaign plan has 3 objectives. First, to destroy the ISIL parent tumor in Iraq and Syria. That's necessary, but it's not sufficient. As recent attacks remind us, ISIL's safe havens threaten not only the lives of Iraqi and Syrian peoples, but also the security of our own citizens. And the sooner we defeat ISIL in Iraq and Syria, the safer our countries will be. So our second objective is to combat ISIL's metastases everywhere they emerge around the world. And third, and most important, to help to protect our homelands. In January this year, we updated our comprehensive coalition military campaign plan to accomplish the military aspects of these three objectives. And we've pursued a number of deliberate decisions and actions to accelerate this plan and hasten ISIL's lasting defeat. And since then, play after play, town after town, from every direction and in every domain, our campaign has accelerated further, squeezing ISIL and rolling it back towards Raqqa and Mosul. By isolating these two cities, we're effectively setting the stage to collapse ISIL's control over them. Thanks to the hard work and sacrifice of our local partners and our service members, and more contributions from the nations that met here today, we've seized opportunities, reinforced success, taken the fight to the enemy. But we're not going to rest. Today, we reviewed and agreed on the next plays in our campaign, which, of course, we won't discuss publicly yet, but let me be clear, they culminate in the collapse of ISIL's control over the cities of Mosul and Raqqa. Given the requirements that we spelled out to supply the capabilities needed in the coming steps in the coalition campaign, other countries in the room indicated their intent, like the United States, to contribute more. I'm going to have to leave it to those countries to announce their own contributions, but I have to say it was very encouraging to see so many countries be willing to do so much more across such a wide spectrum of capabilities, all the way from strike aircraft through to training and vital work in logistics, stabilization, and other aspects. The biggest strategic concern of this group of defense ministers was that the stabilization and governance efforts will lag behind the military campaign. Making sure there's no such lag must be a significant strategic priority for us. We discussed it today, and it will be an important focus of our conversation tomorrow at the State Department with our foreign ministry counterparts. And of course, as I said earlier, destroying ISIL's parent tumor in Iraq and Syria is necessary, but it's not sufficient. ISIL's influence and activities continue to pose a threat to all our countries. And today we also discussed how we can continue to combat ISIL wherever it might attempt to take hold around the world, and how our military campaign can best support our national government's efforts to protect our respective homelands and people. So we had a very full agenda today. I was pleased to hear so many of my counterparts emphasize the importance they place on defeating ISIL. I'm confident we made the plans and the commitments we'll need to build on our momentum and deliver ISIL the lasting defeat